Y'all ready? Yeah! Alright, and with that, hi, I'm Dr. Timaree, and I'm going to talk to you about the 7 rules for being an effective assassin. So generally speaking, it is considered ethically dubious and illegal to intentionally take the life of a human being. But is there ever a situation where it would actually be a moral good? Now, I'm not talking about a justified death, so there's like self-defense and there's like revenge, etc. But I'm talking about, is there ever an idea that, and this is the philosophical underpinning of assassination, that taking out one person is actually beneficial and will save more lives? That's the idea of assassination, is that you're removing a figurehead who is not easily replaceable, and in so doing will prevent a greater loss of life, perhaps a war. So I was wondering, what happened to assassinations? They don't seem to be happening right now. And it turns out, actually, threats of assassination and attempted assassinations have gone up. Under the last guy, they quadrupled. But they don't really like to put that in the media because it might embolden people to do more of it in this particularly divisive era. So, I was inspired by this book by Robert B Baer. He spent the 80s and 90s in the Middle East working for the CIA. So this book is partly a memoir, but he writes it in the form of a 21-chapter listicle, and he boiled it down to 7 ideas. So these are my 7 rules. First one, the bastard has to deserve it. So this cannot be a matter of personal vengeance or vendetta. This person has to be a dire threat to your existence and the existence of your people. And again, it has to be a specific person that by taking them out, it will change the game. You are removing this person because it is calculated to save the social body. And when we make this, we're going to lead into rule 2, which is we have to make it count. If you go in there and fuck it up, you're just going to create more problems. So what are we going to do to make sure that it counts? We're going to have redundancies upon redundancies. Everything that can go wrong will. We're going to have backups on backups. For instance, the person who's doing the main part of the assassination has to already be battle tested. This cannot be the first time they take a life. Because again, this has to be super strategic, and this act will not only kill that person, but change the calculus of power around an entire issue. That leads us to rule 3. Own the geography. It is an incredibly bad idea to go to your victim's territory and try to kill them, because you don't know everything, you're not going to be able to control everything. We do not want to be taking blind shots. We want to have every facet of this planned out, down to the second. We want the exact weapon and all of the angles. Because again, anything that can go wrong will. So we're going to try to keep this operation as localized as possible, and we want to be in charge of all the tactical elements of it. And that's going to lead us to don't miss. You're going to make things worse. First of all, you're probably not going to get a second chance. You might get killed in the attempt. If you go for someone and you don't kill them, the first thing that's going to happen is it's going to be harder next time. It might also add this air of like invincibility to this person. And if you are a part of a movement, it's going to make your movement look like shuttlebucks. If you happen to also kill some other people in the process and don't kill your target, it is going to completely defeat the purpose, because again, we're trying to change the momentum of the entire movement. Assassination is a sacrifice. We are not pretending that it's not murder. We're clear on the fact that it's murder. We're choosing to do that because the idea is this is an irreplaceable person. It's not just going to be another general comes in. The idea is that this changes the momentum of an entire situation, and this person is basically a scapegoat offered to change conflict. It's an act of war, it's an act of triage. This is Carlos the Jackal. I have a picture of him because he's serving 3 consecutive life sentences. Don't be like Carlos the Jackal. He was super out about all of his political beliefs, and he was driving around in fast cars. And so instead, be more of an idea. You're not going to have a flashy house and flashy cars. You're probably going to be moving like every 2 nights and living off the grid. If you want to be effective as an assassin, really nobody knows who the fuck you are, and nobody talks to you directly. This leads us to our final point, make it personal. Robert B Baer is very clear on this. You gotta be up in there. You gotta be there to see someone die, to really be engaged in this on a moral level. And he objects to the fact that American assassinations at this point are largely through missile strikes and drones, in which case not only are we having this illusion of superiority, but we have distanced ourselves from the acts of murder. We are also killing a ton of people who have nothing to do with it. we end up missing our target, and in so doing, kill a ton of innocent civilians and creating further enemies, defeating the fucking purpose. So finally, I love assassination movies. John Wick is my favorite, but that shit's pure fiction. Because death dealing is not fucking glamorous. And while assassination can definitely change the momentum of a movement, it has yet to actually resolve a conflict. Thank you.